Hello everyone, welcome to episode 27 of Competitive Magic with the Carnies. I'm your host from Italy, Andrea Mengucci, and joining me we have Javier Dominguez from Spain.
Hello everyone.
And once again, that's it. I make it sound like there's another person. Anthony Lee, our co-host, unfortunately, is not here again. He traveled back from Philadelphia to Australia. That took him about a week or so. He had a lot of issues with flights, and now he's back traveling to his favorite city, Sydney, to compete in the Australian Regional Championship.
So I assume he took a boat, as we said last week, from Philadelphia to Australia, and he probably took a boat again to Sydney. So happy sailing, Anthony. And I hope you enjoy your stay in Sydney. And I mean, I hope Anthony takes down the tournament again. He's a standard master, right? He's our standard player, so maybe he's
the reigning Australian champion. He won the regional championship last time, earning his lot to, of course, the Pro Tour and Worlds. And he's going there again. Unfortunately, unlike you, he didn't get the qualification to the next Pro Tour. So, he has to do the back to the grind of... in Australia, I believe it's top 8 gets the invite.
I'm not sure. I think it's top 8 for the invite and maybe the first for Worlds. I mean, he does have already the slot for Worlds, but yeah, I mean, it's his format. He's a standard warrior. He definitely likes this kind of formats and games. So, I'm looking forward to see him at least in the top 8 battling. Even though, like, the last rounds, I think they were very late here, or like very early. I think they will happen when we are sleeping. I think in the morning, right? The early rounds. But yeah, other than that, let's see. Also, there are more RCs. There's like, I think Japan, right? Or Asia, because... I saw Li Shitian tweeting something that he's competing in the RC this weekend. So that'll be cool to see. Li Shitian is back. The leader.
The leader. Yeah, speaking of, this is... I also wanted to shout out our new 2 Patreon. Last time we didn't have any, but this time 2 people joined the Discord of Competitive Magic with the Carnies. It's Zachary and Lee. Thank you so much, you two. Hope you have a lovely stay in the Carnies Discord. Javier, so we have a kind of a relaxed weekend this time. No big events. Just, have you played any Magic this weekend?
Well, there was some big events this weekend compared to like other weekends. One of them was like the Arena Qualifier, which was sealed. I know you don't like Arena much, so but it sparked a lot of discussion on Twitter. I think you probably saw it. Yep. The sealed is luck, sealed is not luck. Sealed sucks the format. Some players were like saying like it's great. It's the format with more edge. I actually wanted to ask you, what do you think about this topic? Like, what do you think about this sealed? Is sealed a good tournament format for competing? Is it a bad one? Do you think the edge is large, small? How do you feel about it?
Oh, I believe that for GPs, if you wanted to make limited, it was the only way to have day 1 as sealed, as you couldn't really like have infinite pods every 3 rounds. But I think Arena, you can, right? You can do that. Like,
yeah, you can, yeah. But I mean, probably they choose to not to do so. So,
I mean, at the end of the day, Magic, it's good. There is a luck form, like, right? Like, that's the appeal of Magic. There's a lot of luck involved, so even the worst players can win, and maybe that's a reason why they choose to do day 1 sealed instead of... Is it also day 2 sealed as well?
I think so. I think it was both days sealed. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. What can I say? Obviously, it's more luck involved than draft, but maybe it's less luck involved than constructed.
I mean, it's obviously for you, I'm saying, because some players were like, were claiming like sealed has a better edge or whatever. So, I mean, there was some discussion, like good players, like they were saying things like this. I mean, in my experience, for example, like I remember when I used to track all my GP results or whatever, sealed, I think, was... after Modern, the format where I have the most edge, even though I was not very good at sealed, from my experience, like a lot of players also do very well in sealed consistently. So there was a lot of arguing like this. I do agree with you though. Like I think like sealed is, I mean, it's just like not. I don't know how much luck based it is compared to like some constructed formats. It's just like it feels bad for me. I just don't like it much. Like I don't like the sensation of like this player has a better deck because they open it, compared to like in important tournament. I actually think sealed is great for pro releases and such, or like for semi-casual tournaments. But if you're playing something that has points and counts for leaderboard, and like it's an important tournament, which is the Arena Qualifier, it just feels like you just like you're not gonna be able to, make your tournament count if you open a bad pool. If you open a bad pool, it's GG. Like you're not even gonna be in contention because bad pools are just so much worse than the good ones.
What I think is that in the previous system, when I used to play competitive Magic and playing a lot of limited, sealed was only used for GP day 1, so you could be like the luckiest person in the world 9-0, but then day 2, in order to do well, you still have to go like 4-2 in draft. So what I mean is that I think sealed, personally, it's okay to use it as a day 1 format, but overall, it's not the best thing if the whole event is sealed. Like when they had Pro Tours Limited back in the days, they used to have only draft, and they still have draft at the PT, and it's draft. So I would say that if you have to choose limited, the most skill intensive of the two is clearly draft, right?
I mean, I think for me it's the most skill intensive, but also it's like the one I enjoy the most. Like I enjoy draft better, right? Even if I had the same edge, which might be the case, I don't know. I just prefer draft. I think it's funnier for me. So I did not like when I saw this qualifier was sealed. I was like, ugh. I tested some sealed before, because I wanted to prepare the tournament, and it still felt like, like the arena opens are usually draft, and like so arena can do all drafts and it works, right? So this time they just specifically choose sealed. I don't fully understand why, but I guess
As you said, you're tracking your results, and I remember doing the same. I have a lot of GPs entry and only one top 8. So obviously, I was doing something very wrong in GPs, and I tried to fix that by actually testing sealed before an event. So back in the days, they used to put sealed GPs before Pro Tours, and I remember practicing sealed for limited over draft, despite the Pro Tour, because I think the skill passes more over from sealed to draft, because in sealed you're forced to draft with to play with every card, so your evaluation goes up a lot. And I remember doing some 8-1s at day 1s of GPs, I believe, towards the end. Remember we had London before Bilbao, and also another case where I went 8-1 after trying a lot of sealed. So overall, sealed is definitely a format you can test for. That's just every format in Magic you can test for, but obviously there's much more luck involved than draft, in my opinion.
Yeah, also, the classic limited of mana base suck. Yeah, this thing you explained about sealed transferring skills, I agree, but mostly agree because you taught that to me, so I'm certainly agreeing, but I think that's just still true. Like there's some, because when you draft, it's very easy for you to like not play some strategies. Like I see it every time, players that draft very well, but they just don't draft never like this blue offensive decks or whatever, right? Or other type of decks. But sealed forces you to do so. If the pool says you have to play blue, you're gonna play blue, even if blue is like the worst color or whatever. And it just gives you like a different scope on how the cards work. So I think playing sealed is just a good thing to do if you just want to learn the format. Now, if you want to play important tournament for sealed, good luck opening the mythics, but that's a whole different thing.
At the end of the day, Magic, you have to be both lucky and good, and I guess sealed puts that to the next level. Obviously, at the end of the day, if I saw correctly, the 3 people that earned the invite are 3 world-class players: Seth Manfield, Nathan Stoyer, and what's the name of Sarah on Twitter, Sarah 2020 on Twitter.
I don't think
Yuki Chikawa?
I don't think Sarah 2020. I don't think Yuki is the one that did the 7 wins. It's not Yuki. Right. It's another person.
I'm sorry.
That already also played one of the arena tournaments, so definitely something. But also, you can just look at the decks, like all the decks that did well. Like if you open the pool, if you can do well or not. I did open a good pool though, but sometimes like half of the time you open the pool, like half of the pools I saw from friends or whatever, they just couldn't. If they go like only 7 wins or out, they just could like drop, and not drop, but like Austin got like 6 wins with a very bad deck. Of course, sometimes you can sneak there, but it's just so unlikely. It's like playing mono super bad matchups every round. In constructed, when you get your worst matchup, that's sealed when you have a bad pool every round, again and again and
that's
again.
Not great.
No, it's not. It's just also like it feels bad, like you hate the deck because it just like doesn't have the power rares or whatever. and it's just bad.
Yeah.
But I think it's very I think it's very skill intensive. Like actually playing good deck against a good deck, that's very skill intensive. I think it's very hard. And I think sideboarding is very important. Don't get me wrong. I think Sealed has a lot of edge. But yeah.
I think I've said this a couple of days ago on stream, but the reason why I don't play limited anymore, much limited anymore, I mean, it's mostly because of content. I think for me, constructed content does better. So I'm a content creator, so I have to focus on what's successful for my viewers, but also just the gameplay. Like Sealed is the classic 9/8 mana base is just gonna lead to so many games that are over because you get color screwed. Whereas the beautiful fetch mana base of Modern and Legacy, you just always play the cards you put in your deck. And to me, that's just more fun. I understand everything. Probably if you're listening to this podcast, you also maybe like Constructed a bit more. But, I just, since I stopped playing the 9/8 mana base, whenever I go back to the pre-release and I just get color screwed one game every 3, I feel like, why are people doing this over playing Constructed?
Yeah, I mean, I actually feel a little bit different from you, but the core is the same. I think mana bases being bad is what keep limited away from being like the absolute best. Like I think for me, a good limited game is just like so complex that it's very hard to have that complexity in Constructed because you can get to a high level of understanding through repetition. But a limited, you don't have enough repetition because all the games are very unique. Like even if those complicated situations where you have like Fable against Fable, 2 Fables against 2 Fables, blah blah blah, they're still like you have been there before. But like these limited situations are more unique. There's also like a lot of rooms with combat tricks and such, like room to make decisions. But yeah, like so when I play a great limited game, I'm like, wow, I should play more limited. Like I play quite a bit unlimited since they announced the the draft back in the PT. But like play some games, I'm like, this is great, but then I just win or lose like the next 5 games because of mana screwed, mana flood, or color skew, like big time. I'm not talking like I drew too many lands in my Fable deck, so I have one less spell. I'm talking like I don't play the game, or I have like 10 lands, 4 spells because I have no manipulation whatsoever, so my deck doesn't function. So I'm like, let's go back to Constructed. So I'm always like, I made a draft or 2, and then I have 3 games like this. Either way, it's not like only when I lose. Also when I win, I feel like, that's not like, they're not cool games. I guess also Sealed has these plus the pool opening, so it's like the worst of both worlds.
So like, I love Cube. I like Cube because I pick my dual lands high, my mana base is nice, I play the cards that I put in my deck every time. You have way less, like, you get mana flood less in Cube because either the game is over or you just build your deck. I just like powerful Magic, and sometimes Limited doesn't deliver that. I mean, again, if I was Platinum Pros on the grind, I would need to play Draft. I would say, oh, I love this format. But now that now that I don't have to, I enjoy Constructed way more.
I don't think you will love Phyrexia though. I think you will dislike it. You will dislike it. The amount of like rare games over plus walkers is pretty high. So I don't think you will like this much, but yeah, I mean that's. I think Cube is, I don't know, in terms of a structure, is like the superior format because you get the best part of Draft. Like you get this like drafting. All the games are unique. The complexity that adds, but also you get the good mana bases from Constructed because often in Cube you earn like your mana base is like almost too good that you don't have to think too much in which bases you play because the mana base is already good enough. I think Cube is like I think it's a great format also to get better at Magic, and power level is good, but if you play like a Pauper Cube or a Modern Cube or even a Pioneer Cube or whatever, the mana base is still gonna be decent. They're gonna be like there's gonna be a lot of dual lands anyway, so the mana bases are gonna work way more often. And the powerful cards let you play the game like by drawing cards or discarding cards, like Fables or whatever. They make you still play the game if you draw like 1 too many lands or 2 or 3 too many lands. So go Cube. We like Cube here in this podcast apparently. Now there's no Anthony, even more.
Yeah, Anthony cannot agree with that one probably. But let's talk about something that I really love, which is Modern right now, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, I still have to mention, remember when you didn't like Modern? I remember it from time to time.
Yeah, let's say my life I had up and down with things I liked and didn't like.
That's good though. I think that speaks very well of you.
I change opinion. I definitely a person who changes opinion a lot.
All right, let's go for Modern. So what happened in Modern this weekend?
First person, an actual person I want to mention is Ankdiobees, which is a internet nickname that I read a lot, and I've just became a fan of him. Apparently, he's gonna be at Four Seasons this weekend. He messaged me. He made a Twitter account, messaged me, and I told him I can't wait to meet you. So please introduce yourself to me. So this person, I think, just broke Initiative. I think he was the first person to put Chancellor of the Annex. He did it first in Legacy, and then he did it in Vintage. Now, every Mono White Initiative in Vintage plays Chancellor, so everybody adopted his version. I played a Mono White Initiative in Vintage. I got to 19th place, not the worst, at the Mox on Saturday, 6-2. And Hank was the first person to make that list. He also, keeps on doing well in Legacy. I believe he top 16 the Legacy Showcase, and now he also back-to-back Modern Challenges. I think he had 3 top 8s in the last 2 weeks with his Mono White Humans with Chancellor of the Annex Shining Show. I'm so excited to talk about this.
Yeah, the deck is wild. So I'm going to assume he's the Chancellor of the Annex Master.
Yeah, he's playing a Chancellor. In Legacy and Vintage makes sense, right? Because you have the Initiative, so it doesn't really matter what you do. But in Modern, come on, this is not something that anybody will see coming.
Well, the idea, I guess, it's just Chancellors who stifle the first play, so you play some dudes, and then when they play a removal spell, you Shining Show, exile the Chancellor, and then you have a time walk there. So it's 2 time walks in many situations, I guess.
Yeah, what happened to me was, because I played a league with this deck, the Shining Show is just Lightning Bolt or Fury, you just redirect the damage, with Bolt. Yeah, it's great. Actually, you don't redirect. What do you do? The next X damage, the source, you just, send it another way. Redirect,
and you can send them to the head, also.
Yeah, you can.
So it's Fireball, in a way.
You can, yeah. It's actually tricky to run Magic Online because you have to target the final player and then click on the source.
Exactly.
So, I misclicked the first time I've played this, but yeah. No,
you're too young to, have played this card in Standard.
Yeah, I was too excited to see, the thing that I misclicked. But anyway, love to see Humans back. I don't know if it's back, but this player is winning with it, so at least it's back for him.
I mean, the card quality, the good humans in the human decks have always been pretty good. The Champion of Parish, Fearless Lieutenant. These cards are just very good cards, and now they have Adeline. We both have played these cards, these Champion of the Parishes, a few times. So those are cards I have respect for. And yeah, I mean, this Chancellor and Shining Soul package, I assume it's enough against the blue-red decks, so these can steal games in many situations. Also good against Morted Regent. Right, that which will be a card that this deck will lose to, on the paper. But now Shining Soul is a super good answer there, right?
Yeah, for sure. So Javier mentioned it briefly, but for those of you who don't know, me and Javier top-8 the Pro Tour with Humans. Actually, I don't know if you caught the video that I made with Reed Duke, where we go over the top decks of Pro Tour Bilbao.
No, is that one we made recently?
Yeah, so me and Reed did this I think it was 25 minutes video where we just talk about the 8 decks that top 8 at Bilbao.
All right, you should put the link in the podcast description, and I will.
Okay, it's on channel.
Also give it to me on Discord.
Yeah, when I made the video, Reed was still not a Pro Tour champion.
Yeah, so it was the week we were testing on the house in Philadelphia, I think, right?
Yeah. Speaking of playing against great players, yesterday I challenged Luis Scott Vargas in a legacy battle. I guess we can talk about it later, but it is so exciting for me. Despite I've been working with them for at this point about 10 years, I'm just still so excited to do collaboration with these players.
That's beautiful though, right? It's just part of the magic in the game, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Okay, let's send Modern first, then we'll talk about why did you lose with the best deck in the LLC challenge. Yeah.
Wait, you didn't lose. Okay, let's talk about another outstanding deck that did well this weekend. It won the last challenge on Sunday. Do you remember the nickname Susurrus MTG?
Well, I do remember the nickname a lot. Susurrus MTG, aka the creator of the prison deck that you almost played in the PT.
Yeah, aka Prison Mike. He was streaming. I remember traveling to GP Bilbao. That was 2019. That was like the week before the Mythic Invitational. You you were testing best of one standard, and I flew to Bilbao, Spain.
That format was bad.
And I flew to Bilbao, Spain to play a modern GP for no pro points, just because I loved We're Prison so much.
I remember that. And I was also, I mean, I learned how to play the deck because how many times you played it against me. Like, against different decks.
Yeah, I remember downloading the stream of Susurrus and I believe it was Jody Keith, and they were streaming this deck, and I just watched their stream. So I actually played 0 matches of this prison deck and just went to Bilbao, played it in paper. I didn't do well. I believe I finished top 100, which was enough for $200. That I had this rule back in the days, which was whenever I cashed at GPs, I had to purchase and didn't win that much money. Usually, I never top 8 or anything. I had to spend the same amount of money in Magic cards in the same hole. So I bought $200. Keep in mind, for Survival of the Fittest, which are now like over €200 each.
Wow, that's MTG Mengu Finance.
Yeah. I got so lucky. Just all the cards that I bought in the past. Yeah, that was good.
Too bad they're never going to be sold, so it doesn't matter.
Never. But I own them, so if they ever unban Survival in Legacy, I'm ready.
Oh, I mean, I hope it doesn't.
But anyway, let's go back to Susurrus MTG. He won the challenge with a deck that it's not a normal deck.
This is wild. This is like wild. I mean. Let's talk about
I played this deck in a challenge, of course, on my YouTube channel. I went for 1, which actually is it's not the worst. And so what does this deck do is you have Glorious Vengeance, and you reanimate Emrakul and Atraxa.
Yeah, that's the normal part.
And then you have the Asmo package of Asmo, Overchiss Daredevil, the Underworld Cookbook.
Yeah, but also you have Brainstone.
Yeah, Brainstonks, which is not good, but sometimes you take it off Saga, and you have Profane Tutor, which helps you be more consistent. Finally, be more consistent with your combo.
But is Profane Tutor supposed to be playable?
I swear, 2 times I suspended Profane Tutor, my opponent played Teferi. Just immediately afterwards.
This thing is like I also play one shards. Also, there's so many strange cards, but
you need a discard outlet because of your combo.
They just won the tournament.
First place. I believe they went first in Swiss as well. So that's just almost undefeated.
Being playable is like the complete disaster for me because I will never ever get the naming right from Brainstone and the Stone Brain. I'm just actually, I just can't.
I won at least 3 games by going through the Breach Emrakul. Because in the side you have 3 through the Breach.
Whoa, true. Also Witherbloom Command, somehow.
Yeah, Witherbloom Command, very good at killing Rest in Peace or Hearse and things like that.
But you can also probably just win the fairy. I mean, this deck can probably just cast some of the cards, right?
So you look at the mana, you be like, you cannot cast the Traxa, but guess what? You have Giganta, and I did it. A Giganta Traxa.
Giganta cast, that's pretty good actually. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that happens because you just cast Giganta on 5 and Traxa on 6.
Yeah. Against Game 1 Blood Moon, I just did that. Classic.
Wow, that's impressive, right? I mean, Atraxa and Giganta is a very good combination. I kind of want to try it in Pioneer also.
Yeah, this is the classic modern event where just somebody with the deck comes first place. Modern is definitely the format that doesn't matter. There's 14 established deck, and still the challenge is won by a rogue deck.
Yeah, but in this case, it's a very rogue deck. It's nothing similar has been seen, but.
Yeah.
I mean, this probably has enough turn 2 kills, right? Turn 3, turn 2 kills with Autism and such. It does look like the strong hands here will be very strong.
Yeah, I had a spot to turn to Emrakul, but I decided it wasn't that good because your opponent would just sacrifice a land.
Yeah. But you can go to Atraxa and you're not looking at it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's basically a turn 2 kill.
Yeah, that's you draw. Kill. Yeah. You usually draw 4 cards.
Yeah, it's 4 with selection also. It's not you draw 4 cards, you get the 4 good ones because you can combo again. I mean, I can see, like, you know, sometimes the brews, you see them and it's like, wow, I don't know how this person won so many games, but at least this one. I don't know if this deck is good or not, but if this deck is good and it's stable, the thing it does, it's very powerful. You know,
another deck that it's popping up similar to this is Neobrand. I believe Sandy Dog 402 preliminaries. I played this morning. It's impressive. I had 2 turn 1 kill.
That's you know, strong. Turn 1 kill is pretty good.
Turn 1. Like my opponent had counterspell and Dovin's Veto, and they conceded, revealed the hand, and they had this 2 counterspell.
Welcome to Modern, right? Turn 4 format, they say.
And again, those decks are obviously luck decks, so if you play against them, like my one loss was because my opponent, because they didn't function, so opponent just got a bye basically. But the other people got a game loss, so you know. Yeah.
There's one deck I want to talk about because I think we might start to see things like it's a white-red mid-range deck with the classic like suspects like Ragavan, Season Pyromancer, whatever, and Elish Norn. It does Flash Teferi also, but it's like maybe Elish Norn is better than we thought, or I thought in Modern. Like I thought it was like a barely like a mirror match card for the 4-color decks, the Elementals or whatever. But maybe it's just like so good to just go Elish Norn plus Fury that it's worth playing like in all the matchups. Like because it will just, you know, destroy any board. Elish Norn plus Solid that will just wipe all the boards. So I'm still playing this deck. I don't know if this deck is more played, but I think it's interesting to see Elish Norn just making more appearances.
Yeah, so I think Elish Norn is playable in Modern simply because it survives an All Heat. So normally, you would. I think if this was a 4-6, honestly, you wouldn't see it here. But this card being solid against Murktide, and by solid I mean just doesn't die to a 1-mana common removal.
It's very unkillable. It feels unkillable. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can kill it 2 shots, but I've seen this card in every format at this point, even in Legacy. I've played against Initiative, and they had this. This card is just a good card, I think. And yeah, as you mentioned, Fury and Solitude make you basically have entered the battlefield effect.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how the format evolves, but maybe this card just ends becoming like sort of a staple. I mean, it's probably already a staple, right, in the format. But...
Yeah. So the Elementals deck are playing it a lot. Like I've played FNM on Friday. There were like a lot. I mean, in Paper Magic, a lot of people love Elementals. With Omnath, I personally, I've tried to make it work so much, but I don't think it's very good. And the results also kind of show you that because it never really does that well online. It's so much played, and people are putting Elish Norn in it, but just basically just a mirror match tool.
Yeah, but if everyone plays the deck, it's a good thing to play mirror match. I thought also it was a super good hate card against Amulet. Like Amulet just loses to that card, right? Mostly, unless they go like super bananas with the Dryad. But it's also hard because 2 Valakut triggers will not kill it because of the 7 toughness. It's funny how, you know, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be relevant, but it is. Like having one more.
Wait a second.
Point is...
This card says permanents entering the battlefield don't cause ability.
I forgot about that. Yeah, true. Yeah. I had the conversation already. I just forgot. Like,
okay, sorry.
Went away. No. I think the card is like, it's good because someone asked me about what do I think, and I thought like, yeah, maybe in the sideboard, you know, because Amulet, Balakut, whatever. But maybe it's just good. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would like to see how that evolves, but yeah.
Yeah, I think. If you play white and your deck is suited to cast a 5-drop, which this Jeskai control deck from Sandil does, it's fine to have it for sure.
All right, let's talk about something let's talk about the power rankings a little bit and a question I want to propose. Propose. Is that the correct way of saying it?
I don't know.
Discussion. I'm going to propose a discussion.
Like, I'm going to propose a discussion. Yeah. Sure. So it's the end of the month. Actually, as we're recording, this is the 1st of March. And usually at the end of the month, I always make power rankings for China Fireball. I've been doing this for, I want to say, 9 months at this point. And Javier, we can talk about those.
So, say your tier list and I will propose my discussion.
Okay, let's start with the 2 new entry, because I put 2 new entries in the top 15. I added Mono Red Bosch and Blue Black Mill. So Mono Red Bosch is a deck that is seeing play right now. I would say it's quite consistently in the top 8s, and its success. It's mostly on the back of two cards, Blood Moon and Fury, which are very good right now. I think mostly Blood Moon. I'm putting Blood Moon in my Blue and Murktide main deck because of how good I think it is, and just any deck that can play Fury and Ragavan is just good. Like, there's so many creatures around, and this deck is just a solid deck, and every time I've played against it or played with it, I was always impressed, and I just decided to put it in top 15. Well, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think this deck has been around for a while already, and in a way, it's one of the best decks at using Ragavan, because like the dash becomes better, and yeah, I mean, I have lost to Red Bosch more than I would like with different archetypes.
Yeah. And the other deck is Mill, which is honestly similar things to Mono Red Bosch, as in, it was always around, people always respected Mill. You see in main deck, Sideboard Emrakul and control decks for a long time. But now with Jace, I would say that Mill is definitely picking up a strong tool. And of course, like, the more hate people play, the weaker Mill is. But if you catch people without hate, Mill is a very good deck.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Jace probably actually made Mill worse, like, for this week, but it's gonna make it better for the long term. Like, you know, because the most important part of Mill is that they don't play hate cards against you, because if they do, you're in trouble, right? But yeah, I didn't think this card would be good enough to be played in the Mill archetype, but I was wrong. And again, and yeah, I mean, Mill is a deck I will not mind playing for the tournament right now.
Yeah. The two decks that I cut from top 15 in order to make space for those two decks are Merfolk and 5-Color Zoo.
No. Why?
Yeah, I
no.
cut Merfolk and 5-Color Zoo.
Okay, please challenge players. Make sure there's a Merfolk in the top 8 next week, because Mengu has no respect for
yeah, I mean, this
deck.
weekend there's 4 Seasons, which is going to be like a 500 people event, so that might change things. But anyway, mostly Zoo is a deck that's both weak to Blood Moon, which is, as I said, strong at the moment. Merfolk is weak to Fury, which is very popular at the moment. But it's not just these two cards. Those are the two cards that I mentioned previously with Mono Red Bosch. It's just a whole thing of, these decks are, I think they were good in their moment. Like, 5-Color Zoo was probably one of the best deck against Jeskai Breach, which is on a downswing, and Mono Blue was a great deck against combo decks, which are maybe now seeing a little bit less play. So overall, this is what I decided.
I have 2 questions related to Modern, but let's talk about which decks you think are the best.
Okay, let's do on the A tier. So, first place, I keep on putting the same deck, which is Blurred Murktide. Not only because it's the deck I win the most with, but obviously that has a lot of things to do because this is my tier list. It's also a deck that's just always there. Like, the most played deck on every event. You see tournaments, it's always there with, 1 or 2 copies in every top 8. And that's just the way it is. Blue, fair card that doesn't lose to Mana Screw, doesn't lose to Mana Flood. It's just a good deck.
It's been there forever also. At this point, this deck could probably deserve a whole tier for itself because of consistency. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter where you are, there's always one in top 8. It's just like a good deck.
Yeah. Second place, I made a jump for Indomitable Creativity, and I decided to put it all the way to second. This is similarly to Blue and Murktide, it's always there. It's a super consistent deck. In every in every top 8, you see it there. The different versions, still people like Teamer, Splash of White, Splash of Black, but overall it's just such a solid card, 1-card combo. I think it's the second best deck in Modern.
Yep.
And then I have the Jeskai Breach, which I'm still undecided whether I like the version with combo or fair version better. I personally think that the version that kills you with Breach is better. But outside of that, this is a very strong deck. Underworld Breach is one of the best cards in the format. And this deck uses it very well, so it's in my third place. But it used to be second, so 1 space down for it.
Okay. Next
And
one.
then let's finish the top 5 because I believe that these are the 5 best decks in Modern. We have Temur Rhinos and then Hammer Time.
All right, so I have 2 questions for you, Lars, on this. One, the most important one is Jessica Breach. Like, Breach took the format by storm, like a month ago or whatever. It's just been around, but it seems like these last 2 weeks, like, it suddenly stopped being played. Like, it's like sort of disappearing out of nowhere, but the deck... Do you think the deck got hated too much? Because I think the deck is super strong. Like, I tried it and I was impressed by it, and I think it's a very good deck. But why is, like, Breach suddenly, like, not disappearing, but, like, not much played out of nowhere?
Yeah, so definitely got hated, as in when Pachi won the showcase during LMS3S, the Just Get Fair Breach just was at its peak. I would say that Endurance is definitely a card that you see among the top decks. You see Temur Rhinos having it, Amo the Titan, Yawgmoth, and Endurance is just Elementals as well, which maybe I don't put it as high in my tier, but it's definitely a popular deck. Makes me... the way I'm building Blue Red Murktide right now makes me less and less caring about Graveyard. I only have 2 Dragon's Rage Channeler and 2 Murktide Regent. Instead, I play 4 Ledger Shredder, 4 Ragavan, of course, and 1 Season Pyro. So I'm just skewing away from Graveyard Matter. Whereas the Just Get Breach, it's a deck that cannot do that. It cannot morph on people hate. It cannot morph that well-post sideboard. It relies on the graveyard. If your opponent, has like whatever, Mono Red Bosch plays 4 main deck Relic of Progenitus, and whenever I play League with Mono Red Bosch and got paired against Just Get Breach, which actually happened last time, it's just there. You play a Relic, they have to like Prismatic End it. It's tough, and I think that Just Get Breach is a deck that handles sideboard hate way worse than Blue Red Murktide, mostly.
So it's like a good deck, but that works similarly like a Dredge deck? Or more like Creativity? What do you think? Because Creativity also got very strong, and then everyone was playing Orbar, so it went down because it was too good. Do you think that's we're in this stage, or do you think it already passed and the deck is just like worse? Like it's just not good enough to stand hate, and you need to wait until the hate is over?
Yeah, honestly, I see very little Orvar these days. In fact, you know what? I was actually thinking about putting Orvar in my Murktide sideboard because I am lower and lower on counterspells these days. I'm playing only 3 counterspell, 1 spell pierce, and 2 spells nair. So obviously, I am less and less strong against Creativity. So I feel like counterspell maybe are not at the best right now, but Creativity definitely deserves counterspell.
It's tricky. It's tricky. I think the most So probably like Breach is similar to Creativity, but now has more hate, and therefore it should be played less than.
Yeah,
Creativity,
exactly.
but...
I think there's just a lot of hate for Underworld Breach as a card.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the Breach players are going back to Mortide for the reason.
Yeah. Like, I can see Breach being Just Get Breach being favorite against the Murktide game 1. I can see that. That's very likely. But post sideboard, I have a tool to hate you, whereas you don't really have a tool to hate me.
That doesn't sound good for Breach, though. It sounds pretty weak.
I mean, having a favorable matchup game 1, it's still a positive thing, and maybe people will be like, oh, I don't care about cyber hate because I have, I don't know, Teferi. But the thing is that the Breach combo, the combo Breach, might ignore graveyard hate because they win in one shot. Whereas the fair Breach deck, if you exile 10 cards, they need to rebuild to gain value. So.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So, ironically, the one that's more combo-based is actually better at fighting hate.
Yeah.
That's strange, yeah. But it does make sense.
Personally,
I agree, actually.
Yeah, personally, so as a long-time Murktide player, I would prefer to put 2 Murktide Regent in my deck rather than 3 or 4 Underworld Breach. And just the core of the deck is similar.
We'll see the next weeks, but I think maybe Breach is not like as good as we thought it would be in the long term in the format. We thought, it would be like better than Creativity or whatever, or as good as Creativity, but I don't think the hype is not keeping up. All right, that's one thing. The other thing is, why haven't we talked about 3 copies of Grass in the top 8? The Grass, the unstoppable legendary Juggernaut.
Oh, yeah.
Treasure. That's...
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 8 mana, all the creatures are Juggernauts, 5/3, and they have to attack every turn. They pair this with Treasure, Kalua 777. This deck is yet another Ragavan deck, but that's stylish. I don't know if Grass is like the best thing to do, but it does have style.
Yeah, I've played this deck, and I think the grass is just a meme. I don't know. It didn't feel good to me, but I did well with this deck. I honestly was mostly just Portal to Pyrexia hitting 3 things, and then Sundering Titan in the right matchup, just so good.
But there's one Portal, there's one Sundering Titan, but there's 3 grass.
Yeah. I'm like, it's a moment where I just love Season Pyro. Every deck that plays 4 Season Pyro, I'm in love with. It's just so good. It's just such a good card. Everybody just cares about Graveyard or cares about, I don't know, Planeswalkers. You just put 3 power in play, discard 2 bad cards. In this case, it actually helps you. Like, you can discard Scrapwork Mutt or, Grass, and you do the thing.
Yeah, yet another Fury Ragavan deck, though. It seems to be like,
exactly.
Ragavan, Fury, and then you just put whatever you want. You want to put 8-mana Legendary Juggernauts, that works, like anything's good. As long as you play Fury and Ragavan, that's the case in Modern.
Yeah, overall, I would say that Modern works as follows. Like, you need some busted core, some like the high power level core, and then the rest is, you can play anything you want, which is kind of an appealing thing of this format.
All right, let's move forward, shall we? Do you think so?
Let's go. What do we have? What format do we have next?
So we have, I wanted to talk a little bit about Pioneer because something happened this weekend. There were a few challenges, but most notably, one of them was won by our good friend Tony Ramis, Pepe Team, with Absent Grisfang in a top 8 that had 4 Grisfangs there. That's a lot of top 8, that Grisfangs in the top 8. And none of them was our Anthony Lee, which is the Grisfang master we know. So, I just wanted to say, like, Grisfang seems to be, like, one of the most played decks, one of the best decks in Pioneer right now. It was not good for a while, but it was the best deck in the PT, I think, in terms of win rate. And players are starting to pick it up. I guess that will probably just create a lot of hate in the Cyber for next week. But I did not see that coming. Like, I expected decks like Lotus or Cruel to become more played, but not Grisfang.
Yeah, I don't have much to say, so I'll just stay silent about
yeah, it's just like this. Like, obviously Pioneer, like, it hasn't changed much after the PT. Of course, like, a lot of tournament deck lists are literally copy-paste from the PT deck lists. That's what has always happened with PTs, right? Like, they make PTs,
Let's give a shout out to Canister, who I believe his deck comes from a testing team at the Pro Tour. He was playing the Omnath Bring to Light deck. This looks super fun.
Yeah, the deck also was pretty good in the PT. I played against one copy, but I think they also did very well. The team that actually developed it was very good for them.
What's Courier Briefcase? I don't know that card.
Courier Briefcase. It's a 2-mana put a creature, that's an artifact, and if you pay 5 mana, one of each color, draw 3 cards.
And it's a treasure, so you can give it any mana.
It's a treasure. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
So it's a 1/1 and a treasure, and for 5 you draw 3 cards.
Yeah,
which
it's
you
a
have.
card like it's not like
okay,
because the deck kinda can float a little bit because it has a lot of interaction. So that card was annoying. Like I think I played Fastis and I considered taking it. So
it doesn't die to removal. Yeah, sweet deck. Something I definitely would enjoy playing. I saw that there is only one Rakdos midrange and it's playing Urborg.
No,
he didn't listen to the Carnies.
Well, I could also be wrong on that, but I don't think I am. I think I am wrong on many things, but not on this one. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the runner with 1 Urborg, 2 down with the Bugbear. So definitely not a deck list approved by competitive Magic with the Carnies.
Yeah, they're playing the traditional deck list. They're not playing the Ahsoka Mutable 1, which is another way of doing it. I think this is probably Junior's deck list.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. There's a lot of different ways to approach this, this metagame. But yeah, but Pioneer is gonna keep evolving a little bit, but it's gonna be slower after the PT.
What are your next Pioneer events? Do you have any?
No, I play like a problem. Random problem with Black Reds, with my own take of Black Red Nobleborg. But yeah, I'm just not playing.
Mocks.
The Mocks, exactly. That's good though. I keep playing all the formats.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Mocks, though, we had an old suspect of the Mocks here taking down the legacy Mocks in GPA 93, playing show and tell since 93 probably. Yeah, I mean,
Congrats.
but now we joke. Do you remember we joke about this here? Like Traxa was the first card in the last 10 years for this deck.
Yeah.
Here it is, like two Traxa main
Yeah.
deck. He just took down the whole thing. I don't know. This
Yeah,
seems to be like the classic situation where the player knows the deck so much that he just wins with it. But yeah,
the Legacy Showcase was huge. It had like 290 players.
yeah.
I don't know if I've seen. I think I saw the win rates and the percentage of decks, and there was a lot of Delver. I believe only two made the top eight.
Yeah, well,
So-
W was two Delver, two Painters, two Initiative, right?
Yeah.
No, one
Overall,
Initiative,
I
actually.
think that you know what, like that Legacy is just a fair and balanced format now.
A little bit. I think, like there's this the combo deck with Riddlesmith deck with Killer B, which we have talked about this player before in the tournament because they kept winning. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's two Painters.
It's a lot of combo decks. Two
It's
Blue
just-
Painter.
Yeah, exactly. Blue
What-
Painter, I
yeah,
think it's a good answer to both Initiative and Delver, I assume. That's why Blue Painter keeps doing well, but it seems to be solid. There's a lot of good players playing the deck, and it just keeps doing well. It looks like it might be a Mengu deck. Ancient Tomb. Wink.
Yeah, ancient too. Well, okay, I guess it's time to talk about my grudge match against LSV.
Yeah.
Okay, so yesterday I challenged LSV to a 3-match legacy, best of 3. So we would choose 3 decks and we would battle each one against each other. I expected Luis to choose some blue fair decks. Of
course.
I decided to go on the other way and battle with 2 Ancient Tomb decks and Chafali Breakfast, your favorite, but only 60 cards, not 80 cards.
Still good. Still valid, though.
Yeah. Turns out that I lost the 2-0 with Cephalid, but I won with my Ancient Tomb decks 2020. Mono Blue 8 cast and Mono White Initiative beat the Delver decks.
I mean, I'm kind of happy that you won, but, you should have won with Cephalid as well. You should not let the Cephalid down. That's why
Actually-
I said before.
So, against Cephalid, Luis played a turn 2 Mercurial Spelldancer.
Yes.
And the turn after, he played like a counter on my turn, played a cantrip, and then kicked the Hand to Turak. Discarded 4 cards. Yeah.
GG. Mind Twist, huh? Mind Twist is good for Legacy.
Yeah, I have 4 cards in hand. I was ready because I was going to cycle these step through to get the combo with protection, but I lost.
AKA Demonic Tutor. The blue Demonic.
So that was cool, but 8 cast carries me. I know people love Blue Painter these days, but I don't know. It's just, honestly, it might be a hot take, but I'm on either you play Chalice of the Void or you play Brainstorm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange deck to me still. I understand why it wins, but I don't think the deck is, how do I say, like, I think it's dangerous to play a deck like this because you're gonna lose to the hate, but you also don't have as many strong draws as you have with the Chalice against Delvers and such. But that's my impression. I mean, it definitely fights with 8 cast. So this,
Yeah.
I mean, it actually plays the casts card, so it's a.
Yeah, I
sort of
believe
an
it
8 cast.
plays 6, right?
Yeah,
No.
six cast. Yeah.
No, actually, 1 second.
Some of them
No,
play-
Ilnano plays 8,
Yeah.
but Arkan plays 6.
Yeah, but
So there's
it's like an 8 cast. It's just like a combo 8 cast.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was talking about.
I will probably like it more. Like this seems to be more like my Cephalid style deck.
Mm.
It's probably better or worse than Cephalid. I don't know if it's better or worse. I mean, Cephalid now the second most played deck in Goldfish, or the third. But I think it's this fights with Cephalid. This is a similar deck where it has a shell of things they can do, like also Summons the Saga, but also a combo that can kill in turn 2 or whatever with some like help.
Yeah, I've been playing a bit of Cephalids, and I don't know. I feel like the matchup against Delver is rough,
Yeah.
but maybe I should try your 80 cards version.
It like the normal Cephalid uses Delver, and this Painter deck though might be better, but I don't know how much. Like, how good is a Painter deck against Delver if they have no Chalice?
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like,
how
I
good are
really
you?
don't understand it, honestly.
I think this is much better than the other 8 cast against some decks, like probably Control, but also like Doomsday or whatever.
Initiative.
But
It's
initiative,
I
initiative,
think that the reason to play Painter is for the initiative.
yeah, they just die to the combo, right?
But I don't know. Every time I played with, it's tough because initiative. I think overall, you can beat it. You have Kappa, you have Sai. I mean, all these cards are good, but they have Chalice on 0, which breaks you, whereas Painter has less 0 drop, so it's more resilient to the Chalice on 0.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Like, Painter has to be extremely good against Initiative, while the normal headcast is kind of weak. Like
I would say that...
that's a reason. Yeah, that's a reason to play. Yeah, I mean...
Painter and Cephalids are good against Initiative.
Yeah, but maybe Painter is better, I think, against Initiative than Cephalid, probably.
Yeah.
Because also it gets through Graveyard Hate, because Initiative now often runs the Feni Macabre, which can be like a little bit tricky to deal with, but they cannot, they don't run as many things against Painter. Like they run some like Lawrence or whatever. Now if there's run like Serenities or stuff like that, things will change, I think, because Serenity is so good against this kind of deck. But that doesn't seem to be the case. So maybe Painter is just a good deck to play now also.
Yeah, I was playing Cephalid. I was playing 2 Fairy Macabre in my 8-cast deck for the Cephalid matchups mostly. But also Reanimator, which is super popular online. Like 3 in the challenge on Saturday, and every time I play a league, there's always Reanimator or Oops. Like the metagame of Magic Online has definitely way more turn 1 combo decks than
there's a lot of them.
Experience.
But there are also a lot of Macabres. It's kind of strange. Like those decks keep doing well, even though just say like Fallen Out of the Void or Initiative, Fairy Macabre, whatever. Okay.
I have a theory, which is a classic Mengu theory.
All right, I love those. Mengu takes. Yeah. Let's see.
Luck decks will do well in a small number of round event. So something like a Magic Online League of 5 matches or a Saturday League of, 6 rounds of Swiss probably. But when you put them in front of like 9 rounds or 10 rounds of Swiss, it's not going to do well because they're luck decks.
I'm not sure that that has a mathematic foundation.
Now, Mengu has never been a big fan of math.
That has never stopped you before. All right.
Exactly.
I mean, results have spoken because there's 0 Reanimator, 0... there's like this Killer Bee deck. I think that counts.
Yeah, but Killer Bee is a master of his deck, though.
Yeah, but it is a luck deck, isn't it? Yeah, it's 10 lands, so it has to be a luck deck. If you play 10 lands, it's a luck deck. I'm not gonna...
All right. Caratedon top 8 with 12 lands in Ant or whatever Tess.
Yeah. Okay, let's say this Mango theory only applies to Reanimator.
Reanimator is just weak to whereas these decks are 3 Galvanic Relay. That card's great.
Yeah, I mean, this is Storm deck. There's always like one Storm of some variation. It's only like 4 players playing Storm, but one of them always make top 8 in these challenges.
All right. Do you know what? In the sideboard of this Caratedon, he has Crash in the sideboard. Do you know what that is?
It's a free destroy artifact, right? From Ursa's whatever, right?
Is it? I don't know. I love to the fact that I play Magic every day for like 10 years and I still don't know cards.
Okay.
You may sacrifice a mountain instead of paying its cost.
Yeah, it's a when I thought, yeah. I'm old enough to know it.
Nice. And also,
I thought it was from Ursa, but we're close.
Another question. Which cards do you think it's better? Galvanic Relay or Mind's Desire?
I think Galvanic Relay is a much better card.
Yeah. Did you know which of the 2 cards is legal?
Yeah, Relay is
Galvanic Relay.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Mind's Desire is banned is like, what? I mean, there's some... Like, you think Mind Twist will be too good for Legacy?
Better to not. After I got I'm too direct for 4, I don't want to know.
Of course, but you know what I mean, right? Some of the legacy banned cards, they're like, what? But whatever, it's fine.
Yes,
they can stay banned. But they're probably just not. So I was thinking the other day, I want to ask this question because I was like, I'm playing this blue card in Cephalid that is actually better than Demonic Tutor in my deck. How good will Demonic Tutor be? Or Vampiric Tutor.
You mean Step Through? You mean you play Step Through?
Yeah, I think Step Through is better in Cephalid than Demonic Tutor because pitching to foe is like so good. And how good do you think Vampiric Tutor will be in Legacy nowadays? Like 2022 Legacy, 2023? Because I think not too much.
Yeah, I was listening to the podcast of Everyday Eternal where they talk about every banned cards in Legacy and they go through them. Yeah. And they said the same thing. They said Demonic Tutor, hot take of course, but Imperial Steel and Demonic Tutors are not that good.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Manic Tutor. I mean, I don't know. Like there's just like, is the Manic Tutor even better than some of the cards here? I mean, it's better than Wishclaw Talisman.
You do play Personal Tutor in Doomsday, so obviously.
No, it could be good, better, but it's the same as Jason Mill. Like, of course, that will also mean more Frost Storms in the sideboards. Like, I think it will be a bad thing for the format because we will have more combo decks or whatever. But I don't think it will be too good. Like,
yeah, I mean, the reason of the ban list isn't necessarily strength. It's just fun of the format.
I guess what I want to say, if the Manic Tutor was legal because it was legal, like it was printed now, they will not ban. They will not ban.
Okay.
That's my impression.
Yeah, that's the thing with the ban list. Like, if a card is old and it's bad, but it's not fun, they're not gonna unban it. But if they print a good card new that's not fun, let's say Initiative, and the card is not very good, they're not gonna ban it.
Exactly. Yeah, like, and the Manic Tutor will be worse than Iteration is, for example, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, look what Iteration had done to the format. So yeah, I guess it's easy to. All right. I want to also briefly mention a little something that happened last, because the third big tournaments were the Arena Qualifier, the Legacy Mocks, and the Vintage Mocks. We don't touch Vintage too much, but I mean, like this thing happened, right? According to Twitter, these Italians mashed Initiative plus Tinker, and they just kind of like broke it, I guess. I don't know. How do you think about that?
Yeah, so
they claim they've broken it. What do you think?
Yeah, so what happened is I believe his name is Michele Carretta, Storm Guy's Mio Magic Online. He won the Mox, which was 170 people. He got first place with 8 Initiative cards and just Tinker Time Vault, Citadel, Sphinx, Blue-White. And the next day, 5 of the same deck made the top 8 of the Vintage Challenge.
That's... I mean, to be fair though, Vintage Challenges are so small that if you pick 40 players and 10 of them copied this deck list, it's not that hard for 5 to make top 8. Like,
no, I know, for sure. But
it does look like they broke it, kinda,
Yeah. Also playing the event, I lost to another Italian, True Hero, in the top 4, and he was playing a blue-black with Mercurial Spell Dancer. He was one of my 2 losses. I was playing the Initiative deck, which I think is very good. Honestly, I think that you still are weak to the card Tinker. But that's like the only card that you're weak to with the Initiative deck.
Yeah, Tinker's so good.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I had... Oh, actually, it's funny. We finished I finished the mocks, and I thought about the fact that I drew the card Black Lotus 0 times the whole day.
That's why you didn't top it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely funny. The card Chancellor of the NX was broke, like for real. Like, it was... I had several games that I won with because of Chancellor. Like I was on the draw, my opponent goes, Gitaxian Probe gets countered by the Chancellor, land the Ritual Doomsday, and passes the turn, and I win that game. If it wasn't for Chancellor, I would have lost on turn 1.
It does look like, like it's well suited to fight what the things you face in Vintage. Just to stop the development. Also, Vintage decks, like especially these fast draws, are often like very fragile. Like just a little bit of disruption is enough to make them stumble, and they just bang, win the game. So, all right.
Yeah. So overall, I don't know if we'll still have Vintage mocks because I believe they're like so much smaller than the rest of the formats. Maybe next season we'll have a standard or I don't know, Pauper.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like a standard should be a better one. Like a standard Pioneer, Modern, Legacy should be the one. Now standard is becoming bigger, but it was almost 200 people. It was not a small mocks. For Vintage it was kind of large-ish. But I think
for sure
it might. I also wouldn't mind if they had like 5. They could just add 1 more, and that would be okay. I think like one Friday a month.
Maybe less mocks open.
Yeah, one less mocks open and 1 more like random rotating format, like between Pauper and like Vintage or whatever. I think that would be good. But I mean, I just wanted to say that because this format never moved too much, and I wanted to mention that. Yeah, we can also move to the best format according to Mengu's format power ranking, right? I think you wanted to.
We can talk about the format of the people.
The format of the people. Format of the people. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. There's 2 Goliath Paladin decks. That's the Ores of Ephemerate deck that I love, but both of them are different from mine.
They didn't listen to you.
They didn't listen to the competitive Magic with the Carnies.
I see Pegasus Guardian worth a lot of tickets that will not cut based on
3 Pegasus. I think they just invested so many tickets on them, and it just cannot go off.
They have to play.
Wow, it's 21 tickets right now. That card.
That's like the whole Pauper format. pretty much.
Pegasus Guardian.
Pegasus.
I sold it. I sold it for 16.
Mengu Finance.
When I figured it wasn't good anymore.
I mean, not too much changed, right, this week?
No.
No,
I mean, there's this new card. Sorry, this new deck, which is Wolves Combo. I mean, it's not new, it's an old deck, but it's popping off now with... It's a very good matchup against my Orbs of Ephemerate deck.
Yeah, it feels like most of the Pauper decks are already built. It's just a matter of, like, positioning, and unlike Modern... There's some usual suspects, but there's nothing like as consistent as Mortite or I guess Affinity will be that, but it's not the same thing. It's not as consistent as Mortite is.
Terror wins a lot. The winner of the Saturday one is Against, which is part of the Pauper format panel. I think one of the best Pauper player of the world. Actually, Blue Black Terror won both challenges. Lord Beerus.
Yeah, but it seems like this could also easily lead into next week having seen on the topic. Like, Pauper is just like, it's just very regulated by itself. Like, I guess because the hate cards are good compared to what decks can do. Like, there's no plus walkers or whatever, so decks cannot
it's a very balanced format. So the meta game matters a lot. Similarly to Standard, where one day is one deck, one day is another. 1 week is a deck winning, 1 week is another deck winning. Pauper similar to that. I mean, that just kind of happened with, again, unexplored formats that are also stable.
Yeah.
And the format of the people. I will play the Paupergeddon at the end of this month, the 26th. Very excited to do that. There's gonna be so many players. I believe they sold like over 500 tickets already.
Wow, that's crazy. If you think about it, that's crazy. That's like,
and there's like a huge waiting list with so many people that want to play. There's just no space.
It's also like, I mean, it's mostly Italians, right? Most of the people there are Italians.
I believe what they did was they reserved 50 tickets to non-Italians.
Yeah, like it's so many people, but it's mostly Italian. Like, imagine if they just took people, like they just had more people from other places. Like, it's like a huge event. There's this event that's huge. 4 seasons again. Then again, like, Italian events are just great. What you guys have there is just awesome.
Yeah, there's 4 seasons this week. I can't wait. I'm gonna go there on Friday. I'll play team event with 2 good friends of mine, Usama and Pinto, and I'll play Legacy. No, actually, sorry, I'll play Modern. Well, we haven't really decided this yet, but
this time I will not be there, so you can farm me.
Yeah,
I needed some time at home. Yeah.
Last time we beat you, but then you top 8 and we didn't, so...
Well, that's revenge.
Yeah. And then I booked the restaurant, the classic one, Vino Bruciato, both nights. Yes. I can't wait. I'll play the Modern main event and the Legacy one. They'll have both 10 rounds of Swiss for sure.
Yeah, I didn't go this time, but I also didn't want to flood with too many events, too many travels. But sure. I'm probably gonna go for the next one. I'm looking forward for that kind of event. I think it's very good for this game, right? For the game, for our game, for a competitive game. Simon, that these tournaments happen.
Yeah, Simon messaged me. Simon Nielsen, he's coming. Kalk is coming.
Yeah, Kalk.
Yeah. A lot of Americans. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting for sure. It's definitely, honestly, the event I the most look forward to. I mean, I guess because I'm not qualified for the Pro Tour, but the 4 seasons is better for me than any other. Even better for me than the regional championship.
The PT is like, it's more intense or whatever, but it's a different kind of thing because these tournaments are more like about the journey itself, than the tournament.
Yeah. But I would say something like, if you don't lose, you don't care. But at the same time, it's the same thing to the Pro Tour too. Like, obviously you want to win, but sorry, I meant to say if you don't win. Like, if you don't do that well, he's still... Anthony, for example, repeated how much he enjoyed the experience, even though he didn't do well on the Pro Tour.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, let's hope Anthony, survives this boat trip to Sydney. And, we will hear, hopefully next week, we'll have Anthony here telling us, how he topped the ERC.
Yeah, like if you play the first 2 Pro Tours, you're kind of locked to qualify to the next one, right?
I mean, I don't think kind of locked is, but I think if you define at both, like you have to do reasonably.
Yeah, you need like 39 points, right?
I don't remember exactly the amount of points, but you have to not go like 2-6 or something. Like
you already have 33, so you only need the 2-6 probably, right?
I don't know if that's true, but if it is, I am fully capable of going 1-7. I'm just saying.
No,
I am. Yeah. So I always think if you're capable of going 7-1, you're capable of going 1-7, because for each 7-1 there's a 1-7 there. So just keep that in mind. I always do.
Yeah. No, but for sure, I'm ready to build all my decks. The other day, I built a Grixis Delver for a friend of mine, who, yeah, I'm excited to just. I mean, that's kind of unfortunate of the legacy format is that some people are priced out of competing. But at the end of the day, I don't know, if you have a good community, you kind of manage to find the cards, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it might be a little bit hard to get in there,
For sure.
but once you're there, especially if you have like one deck, whatever, that's good for you to play tournaments. If you have the core, it's very easy to get the other cards usually.
Just dual lands, maybe.
Yeah, but like if you have like a Delver deck, if you had a Delver deck like 15 years ago or whatever, you probably have most of it now. Even though Modern Essence happened or whatever, it's still like the same. Of course, starting out of nowhere is kind of rough, but also it's a one-time thing, because once you have the core, now you have the core, so you don't need to get anything else. You know, that's expensive. Yeah. As long as you don't play cards like Seed of Traitors of Chaos Cradle.
Yeah, a lot of my local friends that used to play, as you said, 15 years ago, kind of sold the dual lands though, because they're like 500 each, and that's a lot of money. But
MTG Finance.
I'm always happy to help. This friends of mine. They don't play much anymore, but just come for the Four Seasons. It's always,
no, absolutely, yeah. Like sometimes,
that's why so many people, because things like this happen.
Exactly, well, that's true. Like sometimes, I mean, I have some friends they go play some modern tournaments or whatever, and just lend them cards, and it's fine. You know, it's like you send the cards to battle. It's not like a bad thing.
Yeah. As long as you trust them, it's all gonna be fine. All right, Javier. How about we wrap it up? Do you have anything else to add?
No, it's good. I mean, as always, thanks again for the new Patreons, and feedback is open. If you want to hear about something specifically, you can tell us at my Twitter or Mengu's Twitter. I also wanted to know if because we talked a little bit about limited today, if a lot of people is interested into we say things like today, we can do that also. I don't know if that's a thing, but yeah, I mean, we're just happy to be here, and thanks for listening, and we hope Anthony survives his trip.
Support us on patreon.com/carnies, and I'll see you there in the Discord. If you don't want, there's no problem. We're going to continue doing an episode every week. Hopefully there's going to be Anthony next week. Hopefully he's going to bring us another trophy.
Yeah, trophy. And also you can get a trophy in 4 seasons, so good luck to Mengu there also.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.